Nicks and bruises, what's going on? We back. Yo, Black is time. I got something different today. I got my guy Be Smooth in here. Be Smooth Entertainment on YouTube. He's a Boston Celtics fan.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him. I reached out to a couple of Celtics fans, but he was gracious enough to bless us with his presence. And he's gonna give us some insight on Kemba Walker, a little bit of Evan Fournier and his small time in Boston, what he liked, what he didn't like, and then we're gonna go in and get some questions about what he thinks he could bring to the Knicks. But yeah, Be Smooth, man. Thank you for joining me, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I know he hit me up in one of my videos maybe a week back or so, and I was doing a live stream. I think it was for a preseason game a couple days back, and he hit me up again. I was like, you know what? I remember his name. Definitely gonna do this. I love supporting everyone and seeing people grow.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for sure. I don't know if you could plug your channel. You know what I mean? We might have some guys that are fans of Tatum or Brown or even part-time Celtic fans, but full-time Knicks fans. So you could definitely plug your channel. It's gonna be all love. It's gonna be respect here. Be easy on him. He was helping me, so we're not gonna disrespect the Celtics. And then tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started, and we'll get right into it right after that.
So yeah, my channel is called Be Smooth Entertainment on YouTube. I've always said I'm not a Celtics content creator, but I make Celtics videos. You can see I post shorts about different NFL sports. I love the UFC, love the NBA, the NFL. I'm a guy that loves all sports and teams. I can watch the Suns play the Lakers one night and go watch, I don't know, random football teams playing on Sunday. I'm a fan of sports just like that. I started YouTube back in 2017, did it college, do actually a bet. My dude said I couldn't get 100 subscribers on YouTube. I ended up doing a little better than he thought I could. But I've always started YouTube. I've started making a little money out on the side. And I just like being creative and just showing people. It's also a place for people to come together, share their opinions. They show some hate, show some love. But if you're doing that, you're doing pretty well for yourself. So I love doing YouTube for that way. And, I have a job down here. I'm 23 years of age. People say I look younger and older. I'm a mix in between. I'm 23, living in the ATL as well. So I've been chilling.
Oh, wow. I might have some questions about the Hawks Knicks series as well.
100%. 100%. I got you. I watch that series a lot.
Nice. So yeah, let's get right into it. Kemba Walker. We'll start there. 2 years with the Celtics.
Yeah.
What did you think when you first got him? Did he meet your expectations?
When we first, let me start in the front. When we first had him, it was like, okay, we'll take it. At that same day, we had lost Kyrie, and we're thinking, damn, is Terry Rozier our starting point guard? Then a couple hours later, we get Kemba Walker. You'll take that. If anything, Kemba's at least 85%, at least back then, of what Kyrie Irving is. You'll take that, that miss. So we're going forward with it. A guy that can take a backseat to Tatum, who was growing, developing. I think that season he made his first All-Star team that year. And we go to the ECF to play Miami in the bubble, and we're thinking, we should beat this team. Miami's not better than us. They have Butler and an up-and-coming Bam Adebayo. Our team's way better. Even we have Gordon Hayward and all these pieces around us. We have a good team. And the reason we lost that series, there was no other answer other than Kemba Walker. It was awful. Kemba was 2 of 15, 2 of 13. He couldn't guard nobody, and he couldn't score. So if you're undersized and you couldn't score and you can't guard, I mean, we had like rookies outperforming in the playoffs. It was just awful. So that left a sour taste in your mouth. And then coming into last year, obviously the COVID thing's going around, plus the fact that he was injured to start the season. So now he's injured. We're having all these ramifications of players missing 10 games straight and 14 games or 2 weeks back to back. And Kemba can't even play the first half of the season. Comes back, and guess what? It's just poetry that he ends the season hurt too. I mean, it was rough for him. Exceed expectations? No. Did he meet them? Probably not. We got to the East Conference Finals. I guess you got to live with that. But no, I'm going to say he definitely was below what we thought he was going to get.
Okay. So wasn't sad to see him go.
Was I shocked? I was shocked. Because I think this was his last year. They didn't have player exception or a player option the following year. I was shocked. I wouldn't say I was happy. I was definitely like, you know what? Satisfied what we're bringing back in Al Horford, some draft picks, or at least we left the draft pick. So I was okay with him being gone.
Okay. Tough, man. This is really Knicks and bruises. I don't know if I thought it was going to go this way. I thought I was going to hear some positivity. All right. What'd you get from Evan Fournier.
So we had
I
Fournier
know
for
it
a
was a
little
short
bit.
time.
Yeah, I think he might have played like 14 games. I don't know if it was that many. And he played the 5 playoff games we had against the Brooklyn Nets. He was pretty bad for us. Now, again, I don't hold it to the extent I hold my boy Kemba Walker. He came in the middle of the season, no training camp, no time, especially with the COVID going around. They couldn't even truly practice together. So that one I really couldn't care for. I thought when we brought him in, he was a scoring option. We only traded 2 second-round picks for him. I'm thinking there's no way we don't re-sign him. I was actually shocked by that. If I posted a video a couple months back, I rather would have re-signed Fournier than keep Marcus Smart to an extension. I was on that bandwagon. Now, is Smart a better defender 100%, but I think Fournier's a better offensive player, the shooting ability, the guy who can create his shots. The thing about Fournier, when he's off, he's off. I've seen 1 for 11, 0 for 10 games. When he's having a bad day, it's going downhill really, really quickly.
Does he do other things in that if he's not scoring? Can you look at him as an adequate playmaker or a good rebound? And then I definitely have some questions about him defensively because I think people give him the bad rap as a bad defender, but I think he's at the least a willing defender.
Yeah.
If not, definitely gives good effort. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's really the target of the opposing team's offense.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. I think Fournier is definitely a willing guy. I think he's like 6'6", 6'7". He's definitely a guy that can play defense if he wants to. More often than not, he just gets beaten because he's not as athletic as the other guys, and that's just kind of what it is. I think for the other pieces, he's almost a lesser version of Gordon Hayward. So when we got Fournier, I was thinking this is kind of what Gordon Hayward after his injury kind of was. A guy that could give you 15 points on one night, give you 5 boards and 4 assists. Something that Fournier could do. Now, again, he didn't have the chemistry with the boys that he could actually do that. But for the Knicks, 100%, he could give you 15, 5, and 5 on a pretty solid Knicks team. So for the Celtics, I didn't see much of the playmaking, but I feel like he could give that role because it's all with the Magic.
I hear you. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up one of these questions I had lined up. There we go. So my guy Guard Up Knicks, they asked how much of his disappointment, he's talking about Kemba, in Boston was related to lack of stability at point guard position, forcing him to play more minutes than he should have.
Nah, I don't believe in all that. Kemba Walker literally came to Boston as an Iron Man who didn't miss any games. So I ain't trying to hear all that. Now it could be, it's weird that we have a leprechaun, but yet we're cursed somehow that our point guard just get hurt. Isaiah Thomas was healthy for most of Sacramento and the Suns. He comes to Boston, hurts his hip. He's not the same. Kyrie Irving, well, he's always injury prone. That's one thing. And then Kemba Walker gets hurt. You literally being an Iron Man. It doesn't make any sense. So, but no, I don't think the extended minutes hurt him. No, I don't. That's just cap.
It's definitely funny you say that because one of my arguments or one of my points in a debate on one of my shows earlier was that Kemba was an Iron Man. Like the thing in Boston was kind of like an anomaly. I think the word is. You know what I mean? Like it was a rare thing for him because he was known as a guy who didn't miss games. And then our debate actually at the time was Kemba Walker versus Kyrie Irving. So being that, let's segue right into that. Comparing the two in their time in Boston, what insight do you have on that?
Now, actually thinking about it, because I actually never really broke this down. To be fair, they both played 2 seasons with each other, and one season was basically cut short through injury. Last year, Kemba missed first half of the season and missed the end of the playoffs. Kyrie Irving, his first year, missed the rest of the second half of the season, missed the playoffs on our Eastern Conference Finals run against LeBron. So it actually is pretty comparable. I'd say this: Kyrie, no doubt, is a better player. It's not even a question. Kyrie's a better playmaker. He's honestly a better offensive weapon. He can score easily. He's a better dribbler. He gets to the rim better, gets to the free throw line. Everything about Kyrie offensively is just better. And even defensively, while Kemba Walker draws a lot of charges, I wouldn't call that defense. I feel like that's just you play your position. You're a smart guy. Use your size, I guess, technically to your advantage. Taking these bigger guys going fast, stand still and take the charge. Kyrie's definitely a more He's not a more willing defender. He's just a better defender. Again, he's more athletic than he is. I think he's definitely, 2 or 3 inches taller than he is. I would say we both made to East Conference Finals with both guys 1 year, then had a disappointing second year. For Kemba, it was last year at the Nets, but he was hurt. The year with Kyrie, we won the first game and lost 4 straight to the Bucks. That might have been 2019 when the Raptors won. So we definitely had some struggles and definitely some upside. I would say this, if I had to redo it all, I hope Kyrie would resign. I would definitely want Kyrie over Kemba Walker, even though we got Kemba for a good deal, but Kemba paying him a player option for $36 million, Knicks got him for a steal. I ain't with that.
All right, perfect segue. Injuries set aside.
Yeah.
What do you think Kemba Walker is going to bring to the Knicks from the outside looking in?
You have a guy, and it's weird to say this, you have a guy that you're hoping can be a actual better player in the playoffs. That you're hoping, even though he wasn't that with Boston, you hope that he's a guy that can actually score the ball when the going gets tough. It's the old saying that Shannon Sharp used to say, oftentimes in the clutch moments, butts start getting tight. People don't want to actually move and cut and get the ball in their hands. They just feel scared. They stand in the corner. I watched the Knicks-Hawks game. Julius Randle looked like he didn't know what basketball was in most of those games. He looked like he didn't know what the option of scoring was, to pass the ball. It looked like they didn't know what they wanted to do other than Alec Burks and a little bit of Derrick Rose was the only people that actually were trying to play well. Kemba Walker completely changes that. Kemba will get the ball and can get a bucket whenever it needs be. He's a guy that maybe wins a couple of those games on the road in Atlanta. Maybe a guy that wills his team and gets an 8-0 run and forces them to call timeout where the Knicks didn't have. I know Derrick Rose is a great player. I think he's more for a second option off the bench. I'm cool with that. But having him and Randle, a little pick and roll game, I thought that would be a great thing to have. He's not a playmaker. He's not going to average 7 assists, 8 assists. That's not who he is. But he's a guy that can give you easily 21 to 24 points a game. Randle give you like 20 to 25 points a game. And if one can give you 15 to 18 points, they have a really good team. I wouldn't call it a big 3, but something like that.
Okay, interesting. From the outside looking in, your opinion on RJ Barrett?
RJ Barrett, for me, I thought he was the second best player in his draft. And obviously, I'm cool with him going. Was he second overall or he went third overall in that draft? I'm cool with that. Obviously, John Morant's improved better than I thought he was. But RJ last year shocked me because coming out of Duke, he was an okay 3-point shooter. He shot 40% last year. That's crazy. That shocked the hell out of me. To be fair, let me add him to that little rustle of Alec Burks and Derrick Rose. He played pretty well in the playoffs as well, a couple games. I know he had one awful game in Atlanta. But he's a guy that can play defense. He looks like he's willing, at least sometimes, to guard someone. He's sneaky, athletic. My thing is this, and I hear this all the time, it seems like he always goes to his left. He doesn't create to his right-hand side. It seems like he doesn't even like to pass with his right hand sometimes. Everything goes left. He finishes with left. He dunks with his left. And that seems like all RJ Barrett is. I think he's a solid player. Do I see a superstar? No. Do I see an all-star appearance? No. But I see a really good, above-average core starter in the NBA, and that's nothing wrong with me, probably.
Interesting. We're hoping he becomes a star. We really are. And interesting enough, if you look at his first 2 years and Tatum's first 2 years, they're very, very similar. Very, very similar. Not saying he could get to that level or maybe or even that fast, but just looking at the first 2 years and the numbers and the stat line, it's almost identical. Just something to think about. See what else I got for you. Fournier and Kemba, I know it was only about 12 games. How do you think their chemistry was together? And if good, how do you think that translates for us in New York?
I didn't see any chemistry, to be fair. And to be fair, again, Kemba was hurt or he was going through protocols, and Fournier also going through protocols and on a brand new team. I didn't see any chemistry. I didn't see any knowledge of knowing each other. But you have a whole offseason that come from the same place that basically both teams gave up on him. Kemba obviously gave up with the Celtics. They said, hey, we'd rather keep Smart and re-sign Robert Williams and sign you, Fournier. Y'all go find some money anywhere else. And they did. They ended up going somewhere. And I think that's also a big reason Kemba chose the Knicks, because he probably could have took that money, go anywhere else. I know he's from New York, but he saw Fournier there. He saw a team that's up and coming, some good talent with Julius Randle. Why not go to New York? I think it's a solid fit. I do say this, the Knicks thing that made them so talented last year, got the 4th seed, was their defense too. It was their intensity. Kemba Walker and Fournier coming in does not make your defense better. It makes the defense worse. Kemba Walker is a guy you got to hide on defense. Fournier is a guy that is willing, sure, but you have other guys in the East that are just dominant that are going to force him to be pick and rolls. They're going to force Fournier to get in the pick and roll every day. Kemba Walker's not going to be able to hide in the corner like Brad Stevens tried to do. It doesn't work. They're going to force him to guard these top guards that we have in the Eastern Conference. It will be hell to pay a little bit. Now, Mitchell Robinson hopefully coming back maybe adds a little, surplus of that and a positive. Julius Randle being better, but Kemba's going to be a sorry side on one side of the court.
Interesting. We play you guys in the season opener. Yes. I'm not going to get in depth, but I could already tell if we could do what we talked about off camera, it's going to be a nice show.
Yeah,
because I could tell you're a diehard Boston Celtics fan. Didn't hold back any punches, and this is actually what I wanted from the outside opinion. I hope to get some positivity, but I wanted true feelings. You know what I mean? So this was definitely great. What's your win prediction for your team?
It's funny. If you read some of my YouTube comments, you would think I'm a Celtics hater. It's the funny part. It's just a weird way how people perception is. But I think when I made my video for a prediction, I think I gave him 47 wins, 48 wins, which is respectable. I mean, 100% is respectable. Easily can get you at worst the 8th seed, but it can get you maybe a 4th seed with 48 wins. So back to 82 game schedule, 47, 48, most 50 wins. I don't see us getting that, but somewhere in that ballpark.
That's interesting too. The optimistic Knicks fan is definitely gearing towards 50 wins, 48 wins. Outside looking in again, prediction on the Knicks season. Now granted, I'm gonna throw a little bit of tidbits out there. We definitely got better offensively, but we definitely lost a step defensively.
100%.
But I think Tibbs, being the defensive coach that he is, and focusing on team defense, I don't think we drop as much as we gain offensively.
That could be true.
But your thoughts on the Knicks outside looking in prediction? Vegas has us at 41.5.
41
with 10 extra games.
You definitely take the over on that pretty easily. They're definitely better than a 500 ball club. I would say at least 43, 44 on the over. I think the Knicks are a good team. I think when I ranked them, I think I had them as a 7th seed. Them and Atlanta battling for the 7th and 8th spot before any other play-in teams. But they're definitely a solid team. I just think a lot of teams in the East just got better. I don't think it's because the Knicks got worse. Same with the Celtics. I think the Celtics, their ceiling is a 4 or 5 seed. I wouldn't be shocked at the 6th seed. The teams in the East got better. You have Milwaukee staying the same. Nets got better, even if KI is not going to play most of the home games. You still got a good team. You have the teams like the Bulls got better. The Heat got really better. And a lot of up-and-comings like the Hornets and the Pacers, the Raptors. You got the Hawks. There's a lot of good teams in the East now. It's not longer the Eastern Conference. It's a really good whole group of teams, and the Wizards too. So it'd be tough. But I think a 7th seed with 43 wins would be realistic.
All right. I hear you. Give me 1 second. I'm about to invite a gentleman on. I'm glad he jumped in. He made it. My guy, Simeon Russell. Nothing but Knicks. I was telling you about him. Sim, thanks for joining me.
Glad to be here, bro.
Be Smooth, the Boston Celtics fan. He's laying it hard on me, man. Yeah, okay. Like, it's very, very fitting for Knicks and Bruises. Some of it was hurtful, but this is what I wanted. Thanks for joining me, Sim.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Be Smooth. What's going on with you, man?
How you doing, man? How you feeling?
Good. I'm good. So what y'all talking about, man?
I mean, he's giving me his honest opinion, his unbiased opinion of Kemba Walker. Fournier's time in Boston. Gave me a little bit of what he thought they could bring to the team. He agrees that we definitely got better offensively. But he does have some questions about the defense as far as those two guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw in anything else I may have forgot, be smooth, but
Yeah, basically we're talking more about, Kemba Walker, is he a good fit? I think he could be an A fit. I don't know about a great fit. He'd be A fit. Him, Julius Randle, a little pick and roll tandem that can work, a little pick and pop every once in a while. I think Fournier is a good guy that can be off the wing, catch and shoot abilities, also take off people off the dribble every once in a while. The offense got better. I was talking about him in the playoffs, the Knicks, where it looked like Julius Randle didn't know what basketball was for a lot of times. I think the whole team's going to change offensively. The problem is defensively, they're going to get a lot worse. Kemba Walker's a guy you have to hide on defense. It doesn't work too often. You have Evan Fournier, who's a willing defender, but he's just not as athletic as most of the guys you're going to play in the Eastern Conference. It's going to struggle. So you have him there. You have Alec Burks. I think y'all returned him, right?
Alec Burks.
Alec Burks. And you have Derrick Rose coming back off the bench. Randall's a good guy. I like him. Mitchell Robinson coming back. That's a solid group there, but the perimeter defense on the wings, no, it's going to be a problem.
I think so. What about? Well, I mean, that's a question that Knicks fans have been having. Can we keep up a top 10 defense? Now what Thibodeau is talking about is playing more of a team style of defense. Obviously, you still got to have one-on-one defenders. There's no doubt about it. But really playing a team style of defense, guys being able to get out on their rotations, get out, making strong closeouts, good communication, those type of things. But that's been a question that the Knicks fans been having ever since. Last night, they got after it defensively. And I'm talking about the first quarter, not really looking at the entire game. Talking about the first quarter, they got after it defensively. Mistakes made here and there. Some backdoor cuts by the Indiana Pacers. Those were mainly with R.J. Barrett who allowed those things to happen. But I guess we'll see. If Tom Thibodeau is the defensive maestro that we'll really get to see it. Last year you had two guys in the starting lineup that. Alfred Payton, Reggie Bullock, who provided some of that defense at the guard spot and the wing spots. Now you replace them with two guys who you say, maybe not going to be as good defensively, but can Tom Thibodeau do some wizardry with the team? You know what I mean? I guess that's the question.
Absolutely. It's crazy because you definitely brought up, like Sim said, this is a lot of what we've been talking about. I think a lot of it is going to fall on R.J. Barrett. He's going to have to really focus on the defensive end. Your opinion, again, outside looking in, you're not a big fan of Fournier's defense, and you definitely said some good things about R.J.'s defensive effort. Do you agree that it's going to rely on R.J.'s? Is he going to be the guy that's going to have to defend the best wing player on the other team, or is it going to be Fournier with effort, less skill?
You would definitely want RJ. He's just more athletic than he is. So I'd rather take someone that's more athletic and at least tries on defense than Fournier who can try, but he's not quick enough, can't move his feet good enough. It's just a different level. So RJ Barrett, but again, no one's going to guard Kevin Durant or Giannis or Jason Tatum. They're not going to guard him regardless. But give the best effort and the best chance of winning a game and then hopefully a couple games in 4-game series or 7-game series, then sure, you have RJ Barrett there. But your hope is that you crowd those guys into the perimeter, in the inside. You have Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle there. That's the hope. That's the goal of trying to force the guys off the 3-point line, force them to drive, and force them to actually put up bad shots inside.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, when you talk about guys like KD, Tom Thibodeau uses a lot of matchups. Last year, when we defended KD, we used Julius Randle to defend KD. Last season, Kawhi Leonard, when we played the Clippers last year, I think it was RJ who defended Kawhi Leonard. So I guess we'll see what kind of matchups Tom Thibodeau throws out there. I mean, I think the Knicks, they kept together a good group, right? They kept together 8 of their top 10 players, and then you added 2 other players in to replace 2 guys who were defenders with offensive who's got more offensive firepower. I think that Knicks fans are willing to give up a little bit of defense for more offense because we really got stunted offensively in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was the issue. We couldn't score the basketball. We played decent defense on the Hawks, on Trae Young. Obviously, they scored the basketball, because they've got a lot of firepower. But we needed to find a way to expand our offense. We were too stagnant. We were too predictable. We were too slow. So I think the team and the fans, well, let's say the fans and the team was willing to give up a little bit of defense to improve the offense, hoping that the rest of the squad, because they remain together and most of the players are the same, that continuity from last season will boil over to this season, and they'll continue to have a decent enough defense, but a much better offense that can propel them forward, I think. At least that's what I'm hoping. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm with you on that. So, you guys in Celtics, you got a new coach, right?
Yeah.
I know you're considered from your viewers as a Celtics hater, but obviously from a outside looking in, I see you talk very positive about your team. So is there any concerns with the new coach? You got new guys coming in. You got Schroeder, I believe. I think Marcus Smart is going to be starting at point guard.
They're going to start at point guard.
So that's a new thing for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Any concerns, or are you happy with the recent changes, and are you optimistic in that sense?
No, not at all. Optimistic to an extent. Sure, we're going to make the playoffs 100%. Are we going to be better than the 7th seed? Be not in playing games 100%. We're going to go anywhere? No, not really. The ceiling's a second round exit. We're going to lose to Sixers, Bucks, or Nets. One of those 3 teams. And I guess that's a good season. That's a better season than we had the season before. Udoka, coming from the Sixers. I know he was on the Nets a little bit last year. He was on the Spurs a while back. He's a solid guy, defensive-minded coach under the Popovich tree. That's cool and all, but are we going to be that much better? No, we're going to be a top 10 defense, somewhere around the 7 to 9 range. We'll be all right. Our offense is fine. We have Tatum and Brown, 2 all-stars. They're going to be all-stars again this year. You got defenders, Schroeder, Josh Richardson from Dallas. You have decent shooters around Tatum and Brown. You're okay with that, but there's a ceiling. We just don't have, whether the depth the Sixers have or the talent, the Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday and KD, Kyrie, and Harden. We just don't have it. So you're hopeful with that. I'm not a fan of Marcus Smart at point guard. He's a guy that can play the 2 guard a little bit, but a guy that averages 5 assists a game is now going to be our point guard when our offense is not going to work out too well.
So are they starting Smart because of his defense over Dennis Schroeder?
I think they're trying to have offense off the bench with him and Josh Richardson will be the combination. That's what they're trying to go for. And I think what they're trying to, the starting lineup, I think what they had last night or 2 nights ago was Smart, Brown, Tatum, Juan Hernangomez, who we picked up from Memphis, and then Robert Williams, a pretty good young athletic center. Al Horford off the bench, Schroeder off the bench. That tandem played a little bit in Atlanta. And you have Richardson, guys like Grant Williams and Romeo Langford, some young guys that are good defenders that you hope can hit perimeter shots.
Right.
So without going in depth or talking specifically about the season opener, just talking about the season in general, a lot of us Knicks fans may be Knick fan bias or just over optimistic. A lot of the things that you just mentioned are the reasons why a guy like myself thinks that we will still outseed the Celtics this year.
What?
Yeah, I said it.
I believe it too.
You're crazy. Crazy.
And again, I'm a real. I consider myself a realist, or like a balanced Knicks fan. Like, I'm not super high. I do have crazy takes here and there, but I don't think that's one of them. But it's just interesting that everything that I would have named as to why we should be better than the Celtics this year is what you just said. And then the reasons for us, I mean, the chemistry that we keep, you know what I mean? Like we like eight of our top 10 guys we brought back. The chemistry is not going to take a hit. You guys are really trying new things and trying it with a new coach. But I'll let you retort.
And let me jump in there. You know, you said talk about the chemistry with Kemba and
We lost him.
Austin. He got mad at that. He said, "I gotta get him out of here. These dudes bugging." What they talking about?
What were you gonna say? And then
what I was gonna say is, along with that chemistry, you know, you talk about the chemistry of the guys, you know, that are coming back, but also Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. You know, they played together in Boston, so they developed a little bit of chemistry coming to the Knicks. You know what I mean? I think the Celtics are a team that's in flux right now a little bit, and they're trying to figure out, you know, because they were almost at the mountaintop, and then they got dropped down. Now they're trying to figure out how do we get back there, and I think right now they're a little mixed up. They're a little bit in flux. They remind me of a team like the Bulls back in the day when Tom Thibodeau was coaching them. You know what I'm saying? They kept trying to get to the mountaintop, and they had this young core, this young team that everybody thought was going to win championships, and then they never got there. Something always got in the way. Something always happened. And then eventually, when Tom Thibodeau was gone, a kid that I coach, I told him, I said, this is it. They're done. They're breaking up, and you know, you're going to see those players dispersed throughout the NBA, and then that's what happened. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of seeing the same thing with the Celtics. They were there. The Celtics are a little bit younger, but now they're trying to, you know, they tried to bring in Kyrie. He was supposed to put him over the top. It didn't work. Then they said, okay, let's get Kemba. Right? It didn't work out the way that they wanted it to work out. Now they got Marcus Smart and Dennis Schroeder. You go from Kyrie to Marcus Smart and Dennis Schroeder. That's your point guard spots. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just don't see the Celtics. I don't see them ending up being as good this year. I think that they're going through a moment of flux, and you know, they might, you know, it's going to take a minute for them to get back. I think, you know what I mean. But you know, I think he didn't want he didn't want to hear all that.
Yeah, I'm reaching out now. I'm just trying to see if he is going to come back before I, you know, end it off. But that definitely was funny.
Maybe lost service or something like that.
Nah, that it happened to me earlier. So I mean,
here he is. He must have lost some service.
He's smooth. We lost you for a second.
There we go.
I thought you got angry at me. I don't know if Sim, you want to reiterate what you said. I think he missed, or you want to let him respond first.
There we go.
Yeah. No, what I was saying when you cut off, I was saying I think, you know, along with that chemistry that Tony was talking about, you know, when you bring in Fournier and Kemba, you know, of course they have a little bit of chemistry coming from Boston, but I feel like the Celtics are a team in flux right now. I feel like they're trying to like refine themselves. There was a moment when they were at the mountaintop or almost at the mountaintop. You know what I mean? And you know, now they dropped. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to figure out, how do I get back to that? How do I get back to the mountaintop? So there's a lot of talent on the team, no doubt about it. But I just feel like they're kind of in flux a little bit, trying to figure themselves out. You know, and where I think the Knicks last year, the Knicks were trying to figure themselves out. The Knicks been bad for a long time. But I think the Knicks got something last year, and they feel like, and they've added to it. You know, there's a lot of consistency throughout the organization, and I think they're ready to. I'm not going to say they're going to be top 3 in the Eastern Conference, but I think they're going to be really, really strong and really solid. I feel like the Celtics are maybe questioning, where are we, who are we right now?
Okay, so we can start with 2 things. Number one, next question is where do you guys have them finishing? Really quick, y'all have them
The Knicks.
Yeah,
I have the Knicks somewhere between 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
Yeah,
And I think
somewhere-
that's been the consensus amongst, you know what I mean, like most of the fans that we
yeah. I mean, I'm not crazy. They're not Milwaukee. They don't have the talent that
But-
Brooklyn has. Philadelphia, we'll see what happens with everything with Ben Simmons, but they still have a lot of talent on the team. You got Tobias Harris, of course. You got Joel Embiid. You got some of the exemplary players who are still really good, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get a haul back for Ben Simmons whenever that happens. So they'll add some talent to the team. Then you got Miami, who is really good, who I think is going to be good. We'll see where Chicago goes and what happens. It's still kind of looking and seeing what they're going to be about. And of course I have the Celtics in there as well, but I don't think it's crazy that the Knicks can be above the Celtics.
I think that's why my internet went out, because the blasphemous that was speaking out my mouth. This is just crazy. My whole mindset blew out of my mind. So hold on. So I heard what you were saying. We don't know what the Celtics are. They're still trying to find themselves. I don't care if they're lost or not. They have better talent than the Knicks do from top to bottom. Before you have to go. Julius Randle might be what? If you put them all on one team, Randle might be what, the third or fourth best player on the team. Then you drop down more. Kemba Walker might be somewhere between 5 and 6. And then you're going very, very far to find the next Knicks player that's better than anyone on Celtics. From Brown, Tatum, Smart, Williams. You go on and on and on.
So
even the
did
coaching
you all have
matchup.
better did you all have better talent last year?
Against who? The Nets? No.
Did you have better talent than the Knicks last year?
We were destroyed by COVID the entire year. Tatum missing games, Brown missing games, Kemba Walker himself missing the first half of the season.
We actually looked at that, and the amount of games that Tatum and Brown missed was not that high, especially compared. I mean, we had guys that missed a lot of games too. They didn't miss that many games.
We had the most amount of absences. I believe, if I have to go back, Tatum missed at least 15 games easily, around 11 to 15 games easily. And Brown, Brown didn't end the season. He had a wrist injury, had surgery, couldn't even play in the playoffs.
I get it.
Kemba missing the first half of the season. Fournier coming from Orlando out of nowhere. Robert Williams not even playing games. We're having to play Mo Wagner and Luke Cornett at big man. That's how
that is my point. That is a team that is in flux.
And
I think it's boiling over to this season. I think you got the influx this season as well. I mean, you just named all these players that weren't even there last year, right?
Those guys were there last year, yeah.
Oh, who'd you name?
Luke Cornett, Mo Wagner, Evan Fournier.
No. I'm talking not then, earlier.
Tatum, Brown.
You talked about some guys, Dennis Schroeder,
Josh Richardson.
I know Al Horford was there a couple of years ago, though.
Yeah.
And he fit in nicely. Josh Richardson. I mean, these are, these guys, even though Al Horford was there, there's, you got new players, a new team. Him and Dennis Schroeder do have some continuity. They played in Atlanta and OKC, I believe, if I'm right.
No.
No.
Dennis left by then. Dennis was with the Lakers by then.
Lakers, yeah.
We'll see.
But I'm shocked by that, because honestly, if we all know this, if the Knicks and Celtics would have played each other in the playoffs, we know what would happen. We saw how bad their offense was against a bad defense in Atlanta. The Knicks offense was so awful. They let 6 foot tall. I live in Atlanta. 6 foot tall Trae Young hide in the corner, then play someone on defense. Put him in the pick and roll. Do something. You guys are letting Bogdanovich and Gallinari look like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan in their primes, just scoring offensively easily and defending at a high clip. All I'm saying is this.
And what did the Celtics do in the playoffs?
We played the greatest team ever assembled. That's what we did. And took a game off them. Took a game off them. Again, the team, we were devastated by injury, still took a game. Tatum dropped 50 points.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. But what did they do?
We won a game. We won a game.
As did we.
We won the same amount of games. We won the same amount of games as the Nets. Then y'all played the Atlanta Hawks. That's just a level of difference.
Conference finals, didn't they? Did they? Yeah. Did they not go to the conference finals?
They definitely 100% were. Yeah. Well, we were there last year.
I get that.
Let's be fair.
And that's my point. You were there last year. Yeah. Like I said, you went from Kyrie Irving as your point guard.
We did.
Now Marcus Smart.
We did.
Right. This to me is a team that's very much in flux and trying to figure out what they're doing. I liken them to. I mean, you have your 2 centerpieces.
Yeah.
I guess you could throw Marcus Smart in there. He's been there for a long time. Maybe, one of the centerpieces. But you have your 2 centerpieces. Okay. But you need more than that.
Of course. But let me ask you a question. Where are the Knicks centerpieces? Where are they at? Is Julius Randle now the centerpiece? He had one great season. Now he's a centerpiece.
I
RJ
mean,
Barrett had
for
one
this-
solid
for
year. He's a
this-
centerpiece.
For this team, he is a centerpiece. Yes, but
This
the
guy
Knicks have a team of the Knicks are maybe one of the deepest teams in the league.
Bench squad.
There's no way.
Maybe one of the deepest teams in the league.
Can I ask where this bench was last year in the playoffs?
I mean,
Where was it?
hey, we didn't get it done in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. We didn't get it done in the playoffs. But we have some guys who have more experience now in Kemba and Evan Fournier.
Yeah.
The offense is going to be wide open,
Okay.
right? With things that they can do. The same what you seen happen last year in the playoffs will not happen this year. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. That's not what I'm saying. But they would not be offensively thwarted the way that they were last year because there's too many offensive weapons.
Let me ask you a question. What's more likely to happen? The Knicks escape the first round or the Celtics leave the first round? What's more possible to happen? Celtics advance or Knicks advancing?
I mean, if we're playing head to head, I'm going with Knicks.
Yeah, if we're playing
Really?
head to head, I'll go with the Knicks. Yeah.
Really? Even though we just talked about the struggles they're going to have defensively, and if they punish Kemba in practice, they're going to punish him on the actual floor. Tatum's going to put him in a pick and roll every single time. Fournier can't guard Brown to save his life. They're going to put him in a pick and roll every single game. Smart is going to – let me ask you this question really quick. I don't even know the Knicks starting lineup, what they're going to rock with now. I'm guessing it's going to be Kemba, Fournier, Barrett. You're going to have Randall and Robinson. I'm guessing that's what the lineup's going to be.
Yep, most likely.
Is that better than Smart, Tatum, Brown, Al Horford, Robert Williams? Is that better than that?
It was last year.
No, it wasn't. No.
We had Alfred Payton and Reggie Bullock in the lineup, and it was last year. How many times did we play last year? What was our record?
I think we must have played each other at least 3 times. I think that's what it was last year.
3 times.
And I think it was 2-1.
Us.
It was 2-1 Knicks. Yes.
2-1.
Now, again, to be fair, 2 of those victories came when Tatum didn't play, Brown didn't play. It was COVID wrecked. Kemba Walker definitely didn't play most of those games. It was just bad for us. We were down bad for. Man, that's crazy.
And I already know what you're gonna say to this, right? And that's cool, and I get it, and I have my retort. But while you may have been missing Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, I think maybe each game one of those guys were maybe missing. At the same time, we were missing Mitchell Robinson.
Who?
And you may say, and I already know what you're gonna say. He's not Jason Tatum. He's not Jaylen Brown. But what he does for this team, for the New York Knicks, and the Knicks play last year, the Knicks team was based on chemistry. Everything that they did was based on chemistry and what each individual part can provide. And not Todd Gibson. I see Andy said Todd Gibson in the chat. And what Mitchell Robinson provided for this team in offensive rebounding, his ability to spread the floor vertically, right, was seriously missed by the Knicks. Anytime he was not on the floor, and he only played 30-some games, his presence changes everything that this team does, and it would have changed what if we meet you in the playoffs and Mitchell Robinson is there.
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer for Mitchell Robinson.
There's no question. That's why. My man, Mitchell Robinson, there's no way you telling me he's going to dominate a playoff series?
Bro,
this is not happening.
You do not have an answer for his athleticism.
Robert Williams is just as athletic. Robert Williams is a monster. He's 6'9", blocking AD shot. He had 8 blocks in a playoff game. That is
strong and a good defender, but he cannot rise like Mitchell Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He will defend at a high clip. I promise you that. Al Horford, they used to call him the Joel Embiid stopper, will defend at a high clip. The fact that I'm listening to Mitchell Robinson being a playoff X factor. If you're saying this, if he played in the playoffs against the Hawks, they win that series? Is that what
I don't know if they win the series, but they don't win just one game. Maybe it goes game 7. What he does on the floor, the Knicks were getting killed on the boards. What he provides offensively for offensive rebounds, one of the best offensive rebounders there. What he can provide as far as spreading the floor vertically. Right, the Knicks missed that. They totally missed that in that offense in that series versus the Hawks because Nerlens Noel can't catch, right? So they couldn't lob it to Nerlens Noel. He can't get up as high as Mitchell Robinson. And then having that 2-headed defensive demon where you got Mitchell Robinson, who's a shot blocker in the starting lineup, and Nerlens Noel is a shot blocker in the second lineup. Cuts off a lot of stuff in the bench. Cuts off a lot of people getting to the lane.
Guess what? When we put out a 5-out team with Al Horford at the 5, Mitchell Robinson can block shots out there.
Yes, he does.
He can.
And on the perimeter.
Yes, he can. You gotta go look at some highlights of Mitchell Robinson blocking 3-point shooters.
Let's put him on the perimeter against Tatum and Al Horford, a little pick and pop game, and let's see how long he stays on the floor. Let's see how long he stays until Tim says, you know what? Hey, Randall, come play the 5 real quick. That's what they're going to do to him. We'll play him off the floor. I need to be here for this little pregame show. I need to be there. This is crazy. This is blasphemous. This is wild.
Yeah.
I know my chat would love this because this is crazy.
Yeah. You got to be there because right now we got a Knicks chat. We got to get both chats together.
Yes,
we do.
Yes, we do. We're gonna figure that out. Be smooth. I'm gonna send you Sim's information. Let you guys link up, set it up behind the scenes, and we're gonna get this thing ready. I definitely appreciate you coming on. You know, I know you're a busy man. I'm gonna let you get to what you gotta get to. Don't leave just yet. I'm gonna get the outro going. I'm gonna get us offline, and I'm gonna talk real quick. Shout out to the chat.
Sorry, Tony. I was gonna say it'd be nice. I don't know. Like we get our fans and we go to Knicks games and stuff. It'd be nice to go to a Celtics and Knicks game together as a group.
Only problem,
I don't know.
Only problem is I live in the ATL. It wouldn't.
That's
work.
right. He lives in
the ATL.
He lives in Atlanta. Dang, that's right. All right. Well, we can do it virtually. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out.
I went to a Knicks Hawks game last year. It didn't go too well for y'all, but we'll leave that topic.
Right. I appreciate you coming on. Be smooth. Sim, obviously appreciate you joining me. Shout out to the chat. Any last words before I hit the outro?
No, man, it's a pleasure. I like being able to do this. Really nice to meet you, man. I'll be 100%. Following your channel and everything, checking you out.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on, man. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Yo, Black, it's time.